So last week we had the DC reveal. I'm actually critical of it. You can go check my video. I'm uber critical of it. My understanding was always that the Batman movie is a TV show, not a movie. That's besides the point. I am still highly critical of James Gunn's DC. I think it's a bad fit. I think it's actually kind of crap. And actually, I should have done this beforehand. Even legendary DC Comics writer Chuck Dixon kind of agrees with me. I don't know if he knows what he's really doing. That being said, I don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He does not deserve that. Hollywood does not deserve the benefit of the doubt ever. I want this to be good. And I will give James Gunn credit. He is saying things that I like, especially here. James Gunn takes shot at past DC leadership, but also appears to blast Marvel Studio and Kevin Feige. Yes, he really does. In this, he criticizes them for something a lot of us have been talking about. A lot of us have been pointing out that DC and Marvel have just been putting out content, not caring about the stories. When it comes to Marvel, we know that they actually create the fight scenes first and then tell you to craft the story around it. And half the time day one of shooting, the first script isn't even done. So James Gunn wants to have the scripts done before you ever begin filming. That's what he wants. I do appreciate that. I think that is a good move. I still have tons of problems with some of your show choices, for crying out loud. Damian Wayne. I love Damian Wayne. I love those animated movies from the New 52 era. I do love Damian Wayne. I think he's a fun character. I think he's a little prick. And I think he could be enjoyable. The problem is, he's not Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is the first one. You don't start this off this way. We have weird comments from James Gunn where he's, people pointed out, hey, how are you going to respond to Superman being younger than Batman? They're supposed to be relatively the same age. Relatively. One's probably older than the other. I can't remember off the top of my head. And his answer was, So you have these questions here, but I do like what James Gunn says here. Per Deadline, Gunn started with a critique of the people he made the Suicide Squad for. As everyone here probably knows, the history of DC is pretty messed up. There is the Arrowverse, the DCEU, which splits then became the Joss Whedon Justice League at one point, became the Snyderverse at the other point. Yeah. Well, actually, more so, it was the Snyderverse, the Whedonverse. Yeah, Whedonverse, because it's Justice League. And then it became the DCEU. But yes, he's right. The DC universe has been messed up. Arrowverse, you have Reeves, you have all sorts of stuff all over the place. And it's not cohesive. You're not cohesive at all. You have people looking over here is like, hey, here's Slade here. Well, at the same time, here's Slade over here. Oh, we have this over there. Oh, well, there's this here. You need a cohesive character. Now, I'm worried about how Gunn's going to approach this. I'm worried about some of the decisions he's making. But he's right. There was the Superman Lois. There's the Reeves-verse. There's all these different things. Gunn continued. Even us, we came in and did Suicide Squad. And that became Peacemaker. And all of a sudden, Batmite is a real guy that's never been set up. No one was minding the mint. They were just giving away IP like they were party favors to any creators that smiled at them. Yeah, you had all sorts of IPs all over the place. We had, technically, when the Reeves-verse came out, 3 different Jokers. Relatively 3 different Jokers. You had the Suicide Squad Joker, which is also the same Joker in Snyder Cut. You had the Joker movie Joker. You had Reeves Joker. We still have Reeves Joker. We still have Reeves Batman. We have those things to contend with even in the new DCU universe. You have all sorts of other stuff. You have problems. This is admitted. But he is pointing out a valid critique. You have all this stuff and nobody's making a cohesive story out of any of it. You are confusing people. Now that's still a critique on Gunn because you have the extended universe. God, you need to reel that all in and have one cohesive universe if you're going to do this. If not, give it out like party favors and let the best person win. You can't have it both ways. Reese and Joker. Let's get over here. Co-exec, this talks about people possibly coming back. Time, everything doesn't always look the same. Here. Right here. This is not the Gunverse, Gunn said, of the DCU. What I've found through Marvel, what wasn't exciting was when movies were tonally the same. What was exciting was when you had something like Guardians come out and everyone was like, how is this raccoon going to be dealing with the God of Thunder? That's going to be weird. Yeah, it was fun. Guardians of the Galaxy is a fun movie. I'm actually excited for the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, mainly because that's a Phase 3 holdover. I'm excited. I like The Guardians. The Guardians is a popular movie. The Guardians is a good movie. Now, after The Guardians, every movie decided it had to be The Guardians. Every movie had to be fun, jokey, quirky, ragtag group of heroes, misfits, all this and that. But it worked for the Guardians. It doesn't work that well for the Avengers. It doesn't work that well for Thor. It doesn't work that well for other characters. When the overall goal is supposed to be, hey, different tones, different characters have different styles. Thor's more of a, you could argue, a dark brooding character. I would say more of a fantastical being, more Shakespearean drama sorts. You could do all sorts of stuff, but every character has to be unique, then come together. You can't have them all have the same tone. They can't all be Guardians. It doesn't make sense to have, even though the question is if it ever comes out, the Blade movie be Guardians of the Galaxy. PG-13 Blade. That doesn't make sense. Blade is a dark, gritty vampire hunter. You can't have the Punisher, or, for crying out loud, Daredevil. Can't believe I'm even using this as a comparison. Be She-Hulk. These are tonally different characters. The only time we got close to maybe a darker story recently would have been Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And even then, I thought that show ended up dropping off a cliff in episode 2. That show was tonally different, but it was still garbage. You have to have that tone. You can't use these algorithms like you try to point out in She-Hulk that you guys use, these perfect algorithms. You can't use that. Story structures exist for a reason. Not everything can be the same. He then took a few shots at the paint-by-numbers strategy of Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. People have become beholden to dates, to holding dates, to getting movies made no matter what. At the end of the day, I'm a writer at heart. And we're not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished. I like that. That is a major point. You need to have the screenplay finished. And he goes on. And if that means our plans has to shift a little bit, it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. We're not going to make movies and putting hundreds of millions of dollars in a film where a screenplay is only 2/3 of the way done and we have to finish it while we're making the movie. Wonderful. I've seen it happen again and again, and it's a mess, Gunn criticized. I think it's the primary reason for the I'm going to struggle with this one. Deterioration, got it, in the quality of film today versus 30 years ago. I 100% agree. You need to have your story firmly set up, and you need to work from there. Now, even in the script, say something happens and you have to diverge a little bit. That's one thing. What we've been getting is, we want this movie done in 20 days. Go. It has to be out on this date. Go. And never have a script done. We know that Marvel crafts a lot of their CGI and stuff beforehand. Look at She-Hulk. That thing was CGI disaster. That all happened beforehand. Fight scenes get choreographed before the script is even made. Directors are cast. They're not allowed to direct. They are given, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. Scripts are never finished before filming begins. That's why when you go over to talk about, let's say, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, you have two vastly different scripts. Because it was reshot over and over and over again, it became a garbled mess of nonsense. This is why you get things like Thor, Love and Thunder, where all they did was, I just have what it's called, yes and, basically shoot off of each other and just make the script up as they go. Now, there's examples of that actually working and actually succeeding. You can take a look over at Iron Man. Iron Man had your bare bones and they went from there, but that was because Iron Man had to succeed and they had to put all their effort into it. Nowadays, half these movies, they don't care if it succeeds. They just want to make money. They want to put content out. But that's hurting your story altogether. It worked when it was for Iron Man, but Iron Man still had your basic points. They were mainly ad-libbing points here or there and making it up as they go, but they knew they had to do good. Nowadays, we're just do it for the sake of doing it. I am still very critical, though, of the new DC universe. I am critical of Gunn's decisions. I am critical of the movies he's planning on making, the shows he's planning on going with. I am still very critical. I'm going to have to wait to see that first Superman movie before I cast any judgment. That is going to be the make or break. And then from there, we'll continue. Again, I'm very critical of the choices he's made and the decisions he's going forward with. I have to wait to see it. Says stuff I like. Said a lot of things I like recently. But just because you say something doesn't mean your stuff's going to be good. But let me get you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out with your friends. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.